Looky there.
Welcome back to W Radio Show. I'm Richie Redneck Pimp King, the bad man of comedy.
Yeah.
Today, joining me again, my buddy, my partner in crime.
Yeah, prodigal son is back.
My good friend here, Commander. He's the commander of the at BFW and American Legion, Post 33 here in Cameron, Missouri. He's an outstanding individual. He's getting to that age where he just don't care no more. So, welcome, guys. And of course, we got our buddy right here. Let me get him up here. Boom. Devil Dog. He's in the house. We got a great guest on tonight. Got a lot of information. We want to talk to you all about healing, the process of healing, and everything that goes on, I guess. And you're going to figure there's going to be some different ways of healing. Okay, we're going to talk about all that stuff. So we'll bring him on just a second. But first, you know how this works. Okay. It's time for our rant.
Okay, rant it out.
Would you say that I'm pretty wide in the shoulder? Would you say I'm an intimidating looking guy?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So if I'm in my underwear holding a shotgun, would you be in whistling Dixie? Would you want to exchange?
If you're standing in your underwear holding a shotgun whistling Dixie, you can whistle anything you want to. I don't care.
Okay, I'm just making sure. Because, a lot of people are like, you can't do that. Wait a minute. What soil am I standing in my yard?
You whistle the Star Spangled Banner and I'll salute.
Whatever you say, buddy. You might name like Dixie. Okay.
Not a problem.
Easy with the gun there. Yeah. I'm just saying, what I mean is, if you're in your property,
right,
and you live deep in the country, or your property in general, you can do what you want to do.
Yeah, sure.
Stop asking for permission to do things you want to do. If you live deep in the country, you want to pee off your porch,
pee off your porch.
Although your wife might have a problem peeing by the door because it's going to stink, so pee on down on down a little bit, you moron. But anyway, yeah. So just do you.
It's yours.
Do you.
You bought paid for it. You pay the taxes on it.
Yeah, the pee in the house. So
yeah, I don't care where you do it at.
Dean Cerny, brother, thanks for joining in.
Hey.
Appreciate it. Hey, I'm receiving any
rabbits.
That's right.
Kill the rabbit. Kill the rabbit.
Yeah, before we bring our guests on again, I want to show you all something. Here we go. The flyer is now made. It is official.
It's official.
Bang.
Boom. There it is.
W Entertainment and Comedy Vets presents Adult Comedy Show, raising money for the prevention of veteran suicide. You all know how we feel about that. March 17th, St. Patty's Day, 2023, 9 p.m. It's a late show, 9 p.m., $10 a person at the door at the Hamilton Bowling Alley, 601 South Hughes, Hamilton, Missouri, 64429. Now, I performed at this particular venue 4 or 5 times, okay? Mm-hmm. And you better get there or you be standing room only, okay? We'll be sitting on the pool tables like we did one other time, okay? So get there. Our host, our MC, that is our own Roy Anthony. You can catch Roy Anthony Tuesday and Thursday here on our network at noon Central Time. He's I love him. He's a Democrat, but I love him anyway. He always says that it's a conversation, not a confrontation.
That's right.
Beautiful saying. That's a beautiful saying.
Yep.
That's why I want to make sure I slow down and articulate that. Yeah. And then, of course, we got our excellent good friend, Richard Montano, the only Mexican I know with an Italian name. Okay. He's going to be in. This man is great. Roy's great. My buddy, an outstanding comedian, making his debut back to Hamilton, Typhoon Panda.
Typhoon Panda.
Grab your socks, gentlemen, because these 3 guys up, and then yours truly. I'm knocking. They're going to set them up. I'm going to knock them down. You will laugh, you will cry, and you will have a good time. All right. And there'll also be a 50-50 raffle, and of course, food and drinks will be available. They do have a liquor license, so if you do want alcohol, you can buy that. You don't have to. And of course, they'll probably have some green beer, being St. Patty's Day.
Oh yeah, gotta have that.
Okay. Now, without further ado, I want to make sure I say this right. This guy coming up here, our guest, he works with, is affiliated with, and takes pride in the Tristan Javon Center for Recovery. And I hope I said that right. If I didn't, he'll let me know.
Yep.
Please welcome to the first time ever to W Radio Show, Mr. Robert Cox, LPC.
Hey.
Welcome, sir.
Welcome,
guys.
I hope I didn't do that name wrong, but I hope I said it right.
I'm glad to hear there will be at least one other Democrat at the comedian show for me to jive with.
A lot of the comedians, I'm the only one that's redneck. So
Yeah.
I'm
Oh no,
going-
you're not. I'm a liberal redneck. They do exist.
They do.
Yeah,
I've met one or
I
two.
refer to myself as a hippie Billy. I'm part hippie and part hillbilly. So
Yeah.
I grew up down in stone's throw from Arkansas, 50 miles south, and I could have dated my sister legally.
No, see, I couldn't be a hillbilly because my two sisters are butt ugly. I'm talking third world. Okay, so I had to take the redneck part. They're ugly. Well, first of all, welcome. Glad you're here.
Thank
Come
you.
on. We're talking off air. There's a lot of things we don't agree on already, but one thing
I
we
don't
will
care
not do.
what I do.
One
My
thing we
point
will
of
not
view
do
is always, if you have a good heart and I have a good heart, we should meet there.
That's right. That's where you start. Right.
The rest of it
Work
will
your way
work
up.
out.
Right. We're not gonna go burn each other's cars up and burn that. We just don't do that. One, it takes too much energy. I just ain't gonna do it. Okay. I got a nap
He was
coming
talking
up.
about
I'm too
he
tired.
was at the point where he doesn't care anymore. And I tell my clients all the time, you know, the great thing about being over 50 is that you learn 2 words. Fuck it. Right.
There you go.
if you learn eventually that not everything has to be an emergency right now.
No, but see, convenience, man. Society's all about convenience, convenience, and sometimes it's just not there. It's just not there.
And this comes back to, you know, kind of the discussion we were going to have about addiction and these other things, is that I think the problem isn't so much convenience as it is pain avoidance. We've become a society that has been told by drug companies, by everybody out there, that pain is something you should not have to deal with in life. Well, there's no bigger fallacy than that. Suffering is a choice we make. Pain is a guarantee, and we better pay attention to it, or we're going to create suffering. Right.
That's right.
And I think this is why, you know, you guys as veterans have a very real physical understanding of sacrifice.
Yeah.
And I don't think that that's something on a societal level that we necessarily have as much anymore. What we have now, what I run into a lot, even when I'm trying to help, is people that want to have a competition to see who can be the most butthurt about things.
And when that happens a lot, I'm gonna tell you something about veterans, and this might be controversial, but veterans have no filter. There is nobody, no civilian anywhere, who knows more about protecting, loving, and honoring than a veteran. Because as soon as our feet hit them yellow footprints, they're pounding on our head. Brotherhood, never leave a man behind. And so
I think it takes a natural inclination towards being a sheepdog.
Yeah, well,
in order to do that in the first place, right?
Some of us sheepdogs, some of us are Rottweilers, you know.
Yeah, but I mean, there are, you know, one of the things I remember about talking to military friends is they feel like, especially Marines, feel like they divide the world up into 3: wolves, sheep, and sheepdogs.
Right.
And,
well, before we go any further, I'm having people remind me. I forgot to do this, and I got brain damage. So forgive me. I forgot our what is it. We got to do the what is it.
Yeah, go do the what is it.
Yeah, people watch this for the what is it. All right, here we go. Now I could go several different ways. That Commander.
I think I have a good idea of what that is.
Well, you may guess. Go ahead and guess.
Well, the old hillbilly in me says that's critter fur, and it looks like squirrel, but I don't know.
That is exactly what that is, sir.
Is it?
Yep. Bang, ding, 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 ding. Eastern gray squirrel. It's his tail.
I told you I was a hillbilly. I've eaten enough gray squirrel to know what they look like.
Well, Mr. Cox, you the very first guest we ever had guess it like that quick.
Yeah.
So you will get 100
in the game. I just
no. That's what it's for. You will get 100 entries into the mystery box.
Okay. That sounds fun.
I'll put it down right in front of my witness here. And you get 100.
I wasn't lying when I said I was an old hillbilly. Every hunting season, I'm out there. So,
you know, it kind of was a little bit easy, but Dean, our normal guy, reigning defending champion, who's way out ahead of everybody, and he mystery box entries. He gets deer hair, so no, he got you on that one, buddy.
Got you on that one there, Dean.
PJ says, what you should about pain is so true. Everyone wants to not feel anything. What they don't realize is that self-medicating makes them numb to the joy of right along with the pain.
And that's what I want. I want to say, yay, BJ, for realizing that, because we cannot. This is one thing Brene Brown says in her videos, is that we cannot numb out selectively. That along with numbing out the pain and the emotional wreckage from our childhood or from war or from whatever, That's interesting, Dean, because my first guess was a coon, and then I looked at it closer and I said, no, that's a squirrel. So,
Yeah.
Okay, so Robert, tell us a little bit about what you do, what got you into doing it, and why you're doing it this way. Because I'm gonna set you up here. We go what we call set up here. A lot of us veterans, we go to the VA and they want to pound medicine at us. Okay,
Boy, don't they ever
pound
poke and
medicine,
pull, poke and pull.
poke and pull. Just, I mean, I take some of the medications in the morning. It's my snack. I don't need any more snacks. I can take enough at nighttime before I go to bed. That's my evening snack. I got so many medications. Some of them are psych meds I do need. I need them. Some of them, you get yourself in shape. There's other methods to besides taking medication. We believe in laughter. We believe in laughter. Laughter cures a lot of things. Okay, it's like winning. Be a bad football team, but if you're winning, it cures a lot of problems. Okay.
So let me tell you a story that happened just today in session.
All right, go ahead.
I have a client with a huge amount of trauma, significant trauma, and some pretty serious mental health issues based on that. And so in the past week, something triggered one of these memories of trauma for this person. And we were processing that today. But there's a difference between processing trauma and reliving trauma. And often people who should understand that difference don't, and they lead people down the wrong path and they end up re-experiencing that trauma. The difference is when I have a patient who is talking about their trauma and I see them move their eyes to a certain place or their face suddenly goes, they have a flat affect. I know they're about to dissociate, which means they're about to relive their trauma instead of just being able to discuss it and process it and put a timestamp back on it so it doesn't have so much power. And you know how I get them out of that place sometimes? I'll start cracking jokes with them. Mm-hmm. I'll make a joke. You know, one of my clients said something about they had undergone a miscarriage. And while that was a very serious deal, right? Mm-hmm. There had been problems in the marriage before that. And so as we're discussing, I didn't just come out and minimize their pain in that situation, but eventually I could see them starting to get too far down the rabbit hole. And I said, well, one thing I've learned today is that the marriage is getting better, right? Because you managed to get pregnant, right? And so that brought on a lot of embarrassment of the male spouse, but it also brought on some laughter. And the client then called me on that later and said, you know, when I start to get too dissociative or too trapped in my trauma, you make a joke. And I said, I might be guilty of that, right? Because what we do when we make a joke is we move people from the emotional left brain and this mid part back up to from the emotional right brain and midbrain back up to the top and the left, because you have to think about jokes. You have to put them together. And so we lighten the situation a little bit. So I absolutely believe. We also know that humor brings out. In fact, I know a therapist on the East Coast who calls himself the comedy therapist. He uses humor in order to heal. Now, you have to be careful about that when you're dealing with people who have significant trauma, because you don't want them to feel like you're minimizing what they've been through. But there are times when you can, it's like having a pressure cooker. And man, if you make some comment or some little joke that's kind of offbeat, you've just twisted that pressure valve and let all that pressure off so they don't pop. Yeah, we're all funny as hell when we're high, or we think we are anyway.
Some of I know some people that are, but
yeah,
well,
that's true.
Sometimes, like to comment with Dean Center, I know a guy he's just real rigid. You know, he doesn't loosen up anything. You get a couple beers down him, he's funny as hell because he's loosened, you know, all that stuff. And so he's
as a therapist, when I see that, I think, how do we get him to be that without the alcohol?
Right.
Mm-hmm. Right. Because that's who he truly is. He just needs to get rid of the anxiety in order to be that.
I told him to change jobs.
Huh?
I told him to change jobs.
Yeah.
He's a tax auditor. So
might have something to do with it.
Change jobs.
This time of year, he needs more humor, I think. You know?
Yeah, he does. So you and I've been talking now for a couple of weeks, and you believe in many other alternatives to healing. If you would, just start naming off some of these things that you believe.
So
better
I'll tell
heal.
you how I start. I am not an anti-drug person.
Okay. All
I
right.
am not. Drugs have no place, but I do believe they are massively overused.
Okay. We're right here.
And I believe that our first attempt should be to regulate the brain in a non-medical, non-medication way, if we can, because medications have side effects. I always start, and this is everything I'm going to tell you today about where I start and what I do. It's all research based. Anybody wants to reach out to me, it's robert@tjrecovery.org. I will send you the research. Right? I don't open my mouth and make claims that I can't back up. Right? I was young once. I wrote a lot of checks my ass couldn't cash, and I don't do that anymore. Right? So, So what I'm saying is, if we start with mindfulness and we use some of these other methods, we can teach the brain to regulate without the medication. In fact, the research shows us that through practices of mindfulness and yoga and some of these other things, we actually rewire the brain. So we can take images of the brain and see the old connections of, for instance, with vets, sometimes loud noise, fear connects. Right. And what we can see when we take these brain scans is the breaking apart of those connections and reconnecting maybe a neuron for loud noise and another one for curiosity. I wonder what that is, instead of immediately fear. Right. And so that's the process that we begin undergoing. I'll say this about it. I did my internship at the Salvation Army rehab, which is a 6-month to 1 year rehab for individuals who would otherwise be homeless or in the system somewhere. And so physical grounding is a great idea. Remind me to come back to that. We'll talk about the importance of that. And music therapy, there's nothing more quickly that emotes emotion in me. If I need to get the sadness and anxiety out of me, I listen to classical music, mostly strings, that will really bring me down. If I need to be pumped, I get out in my garage and I'm working on the wood. I listen to Creed or something like that. But when I had these guys, they would come in and they had been diagnosed with ADHD. And so they were taking maybe Ritalin or something else, which is often, all it is speed, right? That's what these drugs are. They're speed. And they couldn't bring speed in with them because they were meth addicts, right? And you can't be bringing speed into a room full of meth addicts and not expect bad things to happen. So I will say that out of probably 20 clients that had this situation where they had started on ADHD meds in school and ended up being meth addicts and had a great deal of trauma, not one of them who took the program of mindfulness training seriously had any more problems with their ADHD that needed medication. Not one of them. Now, I say took the program seriously because a lot of guys come in there because it's wintertime and they don't want to be homeless. They're not really interested in getting clean. And that's okay. Because when I was at Salvation Army many years ago, they were just like, yeah, well, we're not going to kick them out in the cold. Let them stay. They just can't use while they're here. Right. So, but I have not found, I deal with kids on the spectrum all the time. I deal with neurodivergent brains all the time, ADHD, ADD, autism, all these things. And I've never found a kid that I could not help without medication by beginning with some of these trainings in mindfulness. Now, the first place we start is with grounding. So have any of you guys, I'm pretty sure there are hundreds, if not thousands of people in your audience who have had this problem, but have any of you ever had problems with anxiety or panic attacks? Right? If you're a vet, probably.
I don't panic about nothing. I handle the situation, go on.
Yeah.
Anxiety. Well, see, now that's a different emotion. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm on the other side of the emotion.
Control the
Well,
situation,
anxiety
don't let the
unregulated though will
situation
turn
control
into
you.
panic.
Yeah.
Anxiety
some people panic.
unregulated will intensify until it becomes a full-blown panic attack.
Right.
So,
Absolutely.
but I'm going to give you a technique and your audience a technique that I call a 3 things exercise that will break anxiety like that. Because anxiety is always the fear of what might happen in the future or what has happened in the past happening again. Unless there's a tiger behind you, it's not rooted in the present moment. Right?
Right.
Breathe, glass of cold water. Good exercise. Julia, try this one. 2 breaths in and out. Just regulated breaths, but really pay attention to the feeling of the air going down your throat, into your lungs, and then back out. 2 breaths. And then we look around and we say 3 things we see around us right now. I can see my computer. I can see my amazing world champions chief mug, and I can see my lamp. And then 2 more breaths. And then 3 things I can hear around me, right? And then I end with 2 breaths. And what that does is it forces my brain to pay attention to what's around me right here and now, which is never, seldom unsafe, even if it feels that way. This does not work if there's a large carnivore behind you. Otherwise, it pretty much works. And we're able to release that stress and anxiety that quickly. And that is a simple grounding exercise.
Right.
Or, look, if you haven't seen this movie, I'm pulling your man card right now. Die Hard.
You kidding
right?
me? Yeah.
The best Christmas movie ever made.
Best Christmas
Huh?
movie.
Best Christmas movie ever made.
Absolutely agree 100%. And so there's that scene on the plane when he doesn't like flying and the guy says, when you get to your hotel, take your shoes off and make fists with your toes. That's all that is. That's a grounding exercise. Right? That fist with your toes. You can feel the carpet beneath you. You know you're on land again. There's no longer, your body is sensing and being told by your brain, there's nothing to worry about in this situation. And that will always stop those anxiety attacks. At least in my experience, I've not had anybody it didn't work with. I've had some people that had bad enough anxiety that they'd say, well, it didn't work the first time, so I did it 2 more times and then it worked. You know, the wonderful thing about mindfulness is it can be addictive at times, but the side effect of mindfulness as a medication is only increased happiness.
Right. And
Right.
some people that might work great for. Some people, they don't have a problem with anxiety. Okay. Some people have it's ugly cousins problem. Some people have a lot of problem with anger, which is the same thing, but different emotion. Okay.
Right. So
some of us would drag people out of cars and beat the crap out of them because we didn't like the way they waved at us. Okay.
Let me explain to you the difference between anger and anxiety, though. Anger is what we call a secondary emotion. Especially as men in the world, we are told that emotions are not okay. We don't like feeling hurt. We don't like feeling scared.
Right.
So we convert those emotions into anger. Right. My children, I sat down and had this discussion with them when my kids were, when Tristan was probably 17 and just started driving and his sister was 15, 14 and a half. They went out and did some stupid shit as teenagers will do in a car. And they came back and lied to me about it. And of course, if your father's a therapist, don't ever lie to him because he's probably seeing about half the kids in your high school anyway, and he's going to find out. Right. And I was scared and I was hurt that they would lie to me. And I went ape. I got so angry. I yelled, I fumed. And then I sat down 2 hours later and apologized and said, you scared me, right? And you made me feel hurt. And I don't like those things as a man because as a man, those are not acceptable. And so I became angry.
Right. And I understand everything you're trying to say. There's a certain sector of men, though, who believe that's phooey. And we ain't got time. We ain't got time to sit here and do all this breathing and crap. Get to doing what you're doing. Focus your mind on the task at hand because that helps better. Okay.
Well,
what do you say?
You are trained specifically to do that, right? You are trained if you're out in combat and something creates a trigger in you of some kind. You don't have time to deal with that shit. You just put it in your emotional backpack and you keep going.
Yeah. The problem with putting it in that backpack gets full. It's got to come out.
Bingo. That's exactly what I was going to say. Eventually,
my therapist described it
with that backpack, it's pop goes the weasel time.
Right. Well, my therapist described it. No, they described it as a valve. Eventually, you can blow that valve. What's a valve do? Lets off hot steam that you can't touch. You can't be near it. Get away from it. Okay. You got to learn to control that valve or adjust that valve. Let a little bit of steam out here. Go on, a little bit more, doing something else. So,
and this is the problem with re-entry for vets, I think, is that the rest of the world doesn't experience that ability to put it in their emotional backpack and then let off steam. And when you let off steam, they don't understand that. See, the Gottmans are fantastic relationship people. It's a man and a wife who are married and have written for years about relationship issues. And they have this wonderful theory that there are 3 responses that everything that every human being does to or for another human being is essentially a bid for attention, a bid for connection, if you will. And there are 3 ways we can respond to that. And that means even if my wife comes at me and says, you're a lazy, blah, 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 get up and take the trash out, right? That's still a bid for attention. And I can respond to that in one of 3 ways. I can yell back, which just separates us more.
Right.
And it's always my first response if I don't quelch it, right? Or I can say, you know what? Piss off, I'm sleeping, and ignore it and move away from her, which is also the same. Or the hardest thing to do and the most important thing to do is build relationship. I can move into it and soften in that space and say, okay, I just got home. What's really going on? Right. And open conversation. Now, if you're a vet and you've been in theater for a long time, that is not a skill that you have mastered. Your skill has been, if the wife comes at me or someone else comes at me, I either get up in their face or I put it in the emotional backpack and walk away because I don't have time to deal with it. Right.
That's true. And that's why we're doing a lot with the 22 a day, because as veterans, we're taught an immense amount of things. From tying your shoes, put your belt on, to ripping a throat out. We're talking everything, how to pee, how to wipe, if you wipe back to front, you're nasty, everything. I make jokes about that. Serious. All of us heard it, how to do everything, but we're not taught. We're not taught how not to commit suicide. Okay. Because 22 of our veterans every day commit suicide. It's actually 45 if you count all the branches of service every day. What's going on?
Here's what I talk to suicidal patients about.
Give me 1 second. So, so when we come home, veterans, we got to try to do it on our own. So we deal with emotions a different way. For example, my friend, he might commit suicide. I might turn into beating people up. Okay. Same emotion, different response. Then I got to go to court and the judge's like, don't you know any better? No, actually, Judge, I don't. Actually, I don't. I'm part Native American. In my Native American culture, they're outlaws anyway. So come on. No, I don't. But society don't care. Yeah. The court system don't give a rat's ass. They
no. Well,
they start throwing stuff at you, and none of it works.
2 things. The court system is not. This is changing. I have friends who are judges, and this is actually changing. They're starting to understand what being trauma focused and trauma centered means.
Okay, finally, because they never have.
And but you're not taught how to do that. You're not taught that in your families because we are psychologically still a very young race as human beings. And we've only been studying psychology for 140, 150 years, and we've been on the planet for millennia. So I don't think we've had very long.
Well,
and
we
secondly,
brain, but we studied habits.
Emotions get in the way when
you know what I'm saying? We've studied habits since the first man walked
emotionally. Well, I think it's a different perception though. You study habits from the, how do I say, safe around this animal, which is still here in your brain. And when you're in this mid part of the brain called the limbic region, all this thinking part gets shut off automatically. So I get what you're saying, but the problem is you don't have anybody saying to you, because you don't have time for that when you're in the field. Slow down, take some breaths, figure out what you need to say, what's going on in your body, how you're feeling. The reason the amygdala flips the switch in 0.2 of a second is because if there is a tiger out there and my top brain is trying to decide what to do, how to respond, that takes 5 or 6 seconds. And you guys know damn well that in the field, 5 or 6 seconds is just enough time to die.
Yeah.
Right.
It is.
And so the amygdala takes over because it makes a decision in 0.2 seconds, 30 times faster. but it only has 3 responses: fight, flight, freeze. Right. So you guys are not trained to slow down and engage the upper part of your brain. You're trained to feel that tension rise up, decide what to do about it, and do it that fast.
And take out the problem. Right.
And that is repeated in your brain over and over and over and over until it is second nature. So literally what has happened in that extent, and it is necessary. I'm not saying that's an evil thing the military is doing. But what is happening is they are retraining your brain to be suspicious of everything. And this is why, and a lot of people out there, are going to go, oh my God, this guy's in my head. This is why when you go in a restaurant, you don't sit in the middle of the restaurant at a table. You sit with your back to a wall and you know where all the exits are. That's called hypervigilance. I have that myself. I call it my Bill Hickok complex, right? Nobody's going to shoot back.
The VA calls it paranoia.
It's not paranoia. It's hypervigilance. It's a brain that understands because it has lived in an environment where anything can go wrong at any time and it won't make sense, but it could cost you your life.
Yep.
And your brain has developed to study the nature of the human beings around you and the exits of every room that you're in for that reason.
Right. And also, it's the same restaurant over and over and over and over and over. You don't like to go to
because you know,
for example, you're familiar.
You know the potential dangers in that restaurant, right?
Right.
And it's comfortable after a while. Familiarity is comfortable.
It is.
So what you were not taught in the field and what you were not taught on re-entry back home is how to change that paradigm in your brain.
Right.
So that you can go in a restaurant. It took me years to be able to go in a restaurant and sit down at a table in the middle of the restaurant without looking over my shoulders every 30 seconds. Right.
And convicts are the same way. You take a convict who's been in prison for three or more years, they're the same way. They don't trust anybody to come out.
Why do you think that is?
Well, because what do they call that? They're institutionalized. They get programmed to do the same thing. They get taught the same program.
Because they've been put in situations where they have to be concerned about their life constantly.
Yeah, they do.
No difference. And this is also why so many vets come home and they find a second home in Leavenworth.
Yeah.
Because they're used to that.
Yep.
They're used to everyone being a potential enemy and having to be on guard all the time. And the hell that we understand becomes less frightening than the heaven we haven't experienced or learned about yet. So we just, like a frog in a pan of water, we just sit there until it starts to boil because we know how to handle that. Right?
We absolutely. Guys, if you're just tuning in, first of all, why you're late? If you're just tuning in, we got Robert Cox here. He's telling us some things about the brain, how things work, things that you don't always get just with medicine or anything else like that. Different types of therapy. I want to touch real quick. Now, I know you're not the guy that does this, but we talked about, somebody, I think you had a female friend or something that does this, but
she's a contractor with me. Her name is Alicia.
Yeah.
And she is a hypnotherapist.
Yes.
And so hypnotherapy is about putting someone in a state where they are receptive to suggestions. So it starts with an activity that's a lot like mindfulness or meditation, creating a safe place where you feel warm and welcome and safe, and you don't have that hypervigilance going on, right? Let's say one of the, do you know how hypnosis developed in the first place? It was developed as a way to help people quit smoking.
Yeah.
And it was incredibly effective at that. Well, it's also incredibly effective at helping other people deal with addiction issues. Right. So this is what you do during hypnosis is you put someone under. Now, what it won't do for you is the deep trauma work. And so when we've got that deep trauma going on, we need to be doing that work too. But it is very good about shoring up therapy with suggestions. I'll give you an example. I have several clients who are struggling with addiction of varying ages. And so what I do with them is we work on the trauma, because one of the misunderstandings, and I think we're starting to lose this about addiction, is that Nobody wakes up in the morning and says, I think I'll try heroin today. We do it because the other things we were trying to numb out with stopped working. Right. And the reason we are numbing out, whether we were in combat or we were in a combative childhood, is always about trauma, because we don't know how to handle the emotions that come up. And so those emotions are handling us. Sorry, that's my alarm system, guys. I have 200-pound alarms in here, and they think that every delivery guy is a serial killer coming to get their family. So,
well, I got one of them too.
yeah. Yeah. So,
so if I hear your dog say, "You sure got a pretty mouth, boy,"
yeah,
you may answer me some questions.
that's like, see, that is a far reference that I actually get, because again, that hillbilly blood in me means I've seen that movie 3 or 4 times.
French fried taters.
Fried taters. Fried taters. Ain't got no gas in it.
Yeah. So I think this is the essence of the issue, is that we start by building an emotional space. I tell people all the time, the point of mindfulness is not to control your thoughts and emotions. You can't do that. It's not possible. You're a human being. Right. Negative thoughts, negative emotions are going to pop up all the time. The point of mindfulness is not to control my thoughts and emotions. It's to keep my thoughts and emotions from controlling me.
Right. And I struggle real bad with that.
That is where hypnosis comes in, by building in suggestions that help me do that.
Well, see, I'm going to have to look at that, because I suffer from racing mind syndrome. Okay. I can literally think of 10 things at one time. Okay. I've been literally talking to you guys, and I'm already thinking of 3 other things I need to do instead of concentrating on what the hell is going on. I can't help it. My mind takes off. Okay. Yeah. A lot of times I got some Native American things I do every so often to help me, but that controlling that mind thinking, that's where a lot of thoughts come from. That's where a lot of things come from.
Yeah.
But that's not the point of mindfulness practice, is to control those thoughts, or keep. This is the problem a lot of people make when they sit down and they want to just meditate for a while. Is they get carried away with their monkey mind and they start chasing it. Yeah. Don't play whack-a-mole. That's an unending game. Just let the thought go.
And it makes no sense.
Just because I observe a thought does not mean I need to attach to the thought and let it drag me down that rabbit hole. Right.
Right.
A lot of times, all of us, especially men, we will sit down and we will try and meditate, and we'll think about the things around the house we need to fix, or the bills that are coming due, or whatever. And we can't get our brain quiet because we keep chasing those thoughts around, instead of just saying, yeah, that's bills, but right now I'm doing this, so I'm just going to let that go. Right. And then just coming back without judgment. We also get in this big judgment place. Why can't I calm my mind down? Well, because you're human. Yeah. Everybody, the thing is, we've also made that much, much worse over the last 30 years by engaging people in television and their computer and Facebook and their phone all at the same time. And there's this mythology out there about our ability, our ability to multitask. We don't have the ability to multitask. We just discussed earlier is that the brain doesn't have the ability to be in more than one place in one time at a time. So what we're doing is we're microtasking. We're going from, I've watched my kid do this with her homework from K-State. Homework book, computer, homework book, computer. Maybe look up at the video for a minute that I was watching on TV, back down. And we microtask. We get 1,000th of a second of all these things, and then we integrate them as we go along. And we become very good at that. But it's mythology that we can multitask.
Right. Yeah, I hear people say all the time, I can multitask. I said, well, okay.
What you're doing is slowing down your brain and creating more anxiety by trying to microtask and put yourself into a hurry.
I always tell somebody, you can never microtask. They say, why not? Because it's physically impossible for you to be in 2 spots at one time. And my friend of mine said, what do you mean? I said, okay, I'm gonna hold on to you. Okay, go stand over there. Go ahead, go. Yeah. You're here, go stand there. You can't split your body, the atoms of your body to do that. People try that, so they try to do it with their brains. Mm-hmm. You might think about that,
and we are told,
but you're not there.
And we are told that's how you be a good employee.
Well, and that's foolish advice. Maybe you need to buy the company.
It is how you be a good employee until that emotional backpack fills up and you collapse.
And then you're the guy walking in with a backpack full of ammo, shooting up your office building.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And I mean,
Exactly.
I make
Really.
jokes about it, but that's serious.
That is serious.
Mhm.
Yeah.
You
That's
know,
what happens.
Yeah. So
'Cause
No,
you're
that
gonna
is what
snap.
happens.
You're gonna
That's what
snap.
happens when we don't pay attention to trauma. That trauma will get externalized on other people.
every one of those mass shooters, when they interview them, the ones that lived, okay,
We got
the ones that lived, had all said the same thing. My mind, I was thinking of different things. My mind was out of control.
Mhm.
Okay. It don't matter who their political affiliation with or if there was racist or anything like all of them start with my mind was out of control or they say, or I blacked out. Means their mind went dead.
But I think that
You know.
when we look at the problems like the shooters that go into an exclusively Mexican Walmart or someplace like that, it's definitely a racist motivation. But let's
Yeah.
look at how their brain got that way.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. It might be,
Yeah.
that might be what got them there, but their brains ultimately they let it go. They couldn't control it and get a hold of it.
Well, I don't think there is any controlling racism. I think that's a hatred based on fear of what I don't understand again.
Yeah.
Right. I don't understand this. And my natural limbic brain reaction, which remember, this part of my brain as an evolving species formed long before the one that could actually think for itself.
Right.
And so when I resort to this, I'm resorting to that animal lizard-like brain that just wants to respond. And if I'm told all my life these misconceptions about one type of people or another, I become afraid of that.
Right. And then you get people who get jobs like this one.
We tried to reach out to the man who died in this pursuit. They were unavailable for comment. Micah, back to you.
You think? That brings me to another psychological point. And this is how we survive holidays. Expectations. She went out there with the stupid expectation of being able to interview somebody who had died. Right? The fewer expectations we have, the happier we're going to be.
And see, so we got people like that we call idiots. Okay, I know there might be a certain term for them, but those people are idiots. Okay, they just
I think that the PC term right now is mentally challenged, but
idiot. I mean, some of these idiots. Like I'm gonna play you a little snidbit here. I'm glad you're on her, person that thinks a little bit, because I got some people. These people vote. Okay, here we go. Watch this.
yeah.
I keep getting crickets in my house. I don't know why. I've never had a cricket problem before, but I looked it up, and apparently it's really bad luck to kick them out of your house. Like, you're not supposed to kick them out of your house, but like, what am I supposed to do? Like, let you stay here? Now there's like 36 crickets running around because I did kick out one, and let me tell you, I had a really, really horrible week after that. And now they're just running around. And I'm like, please move. I just want to make a piece of toast and you're in my way. And I open a cabinet and it's just like, oh, hey, cricket that I can't kick out of my house. Can you please just leave? I don't want to kick you out. I just want to ask you nicely to leave. My house is just infested with crickets.
Now, I ask you, fine sir. Okay, what's the PC term of that?
Yeah.
Idiot.
Idiot.
I don't
Window
know
licker.
I don't know what I should, as someone in the mental health field, I should know what the term for cricketophobia is, but I don't. And,
Well, we're not making fun of the phobia. It's making fun of how she's want to control the phobia. I mean,
Yeah.
or how,
Well,
excuse
you
me,
know,
deal
that
with the
comes
phobia.
from-
Yeah.
Put her in
and
a
that
paper
comes
dress and a
from
padded room.
really, that comes from this like refusal by so many of us in society to discuss things. And that is essentially a refusal to be educated about things.
Okay, that'll be fine. Here's now don't think we just pick on the women because we found a brother.
Yeah.
We found their brother.
Yeah,
A baby
yeah.
was born in Alabama yesterday with the same birthday as both of its parents. Many are calling it a miracle that a pair of twins was able to give birth to a healthy baby.
That.
Now, what the hell?
Hey,
one's
that's
ever-
odd. My
twins can
wife
give birth.
and my daughter. My
Twins
wife
can-
and my daughter have the same birthday. Does that make
Yeah,
them
it's not uncommon. I don't understand that people. That's uncommon. What the hell are you smoking? And here's one. You don't have to listen to this lady. You can just read everything about her that you need to know. If it wasn't for the nice man who discovered electricity, we'd all be watching television by candlelight. Brother, I mean, you can diagnose it which way you want to, but in our community, these are idiots. Okay, you can hang with them, and they're normal people. They wipe their butt normal, but don't let you do the thinking for them. Okay,
10
They were in the Air
stupid
Force.
in a 5-pound bag.
10 pounds of stupid in a 5-pound bag. That's right. We didn't mean to interrupt you like that, but I know. But I
No,
wanted to
that's
see.
fine.
These are some of the people that we deal with, and yeah. Well, let's take a pause for a second. We've covered a lot of information from you, and we appreciate that. And I want to talk about the art of masseuse when we get back to doing what we're doing here.
Okay.
Because I know masseuse is a good way to release therapy too, and I should do it more. But we'll
I
cover it.
have some interesting things to say about massage therapy and even yoga, where that's concerned.
Okay, well, we'll get to that in just a second here. We got a couple other segments that we got to do to keep everybody happy. Okay, again, guys, we got one finally come out of the gate in March. Every year we'll start in March. Isn't that weird?
Yeah, I know everything's in March.
Yeah.
March is going to be a busy month for me.
It is. March going to be huge. Anyway, there you go, guys. I'm hitting the stage again. Come out and
Yep.
see your boy. I'm gonna make you laugh. I guarantee my 3 buddies here. I guarantee you're gonna laugh. If you don't laugh, then Robert Cox he'll mow your yard for free. Okay. See, you're already laughing.
Yeah.
There you go.
You're already laughing.
See?
So
Pick
we're-
the fat guy who needs a knee replacement for that crap. Right.
Hey, listen, you're an educated man. How do you say ratchet strap?
I pretend to be. How do I what?
Say ratchet strap.
Ratchet strap.
You're wrong. You've been wrong all these years.
Saying it wrong.
Yep,
How
I'm
do you
gonna
say it?
Right here.
Ratchet straps.
There you go. Hey, they say it's not true unless I can prove it. Well, there you go.
That's right.
I just proved it.
I took a picture one time when I was down in the deep woods. Somebody on their gas station had put a sign that said restroom for customers only.
Okay, genius.
Yeah.
Oh, lucky you didn't piss in the sink.
Yeah.
Probably
All right, here we
did.
go.
So,
Here's another meme. Here we go. Shania Twain at the Grammys makes me want a chicken sandwich and a Frosty real bad.
she
Look,
does
Wendy's.
just like that. She does look just like Wendy there.
Minus the freckles.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Somebody should have just
Just
you know,
for shits and giggles.
I'd have paid for them a lunch.
Maybe when they ordered up that meme, they said, "Hold the freckles." I don't know.
Yeah.
A Raggedy Ann doll came to mind for me.
Yeah. We're starting to get that old.
Yeah,
we
yeah,
understand
yeah,
it.
yeah.
Right.
All right, you guys tell me yes or no on this.
Yep.
Yep.
That's slick.
Yeah. I don't care who you are. That's cool.
I don't care if you want it or not. You still got to admit that's slick.
That's slick.
Part of
One
me
hell of
says
a rat
that's
run.
awesome, but the realistic side of me says, "No way I could feed that damn thing. No way."
Oh, it's gonna eat.
Huh?
It gonna eat.
It's parked outside of a steakhouse. Did you see that?
Yeah.
Oh no, I didn't see that.
They can afford steak. They can afford to drive that.
That is a very cool car, but I'm afraid it would cost me a fortune to take it anywhere.
Can you imagine the insurance on that car?
Oh my God! Yeah.
Yeah. Oh boy.
So if your neighbor has a phobia to clowns, and you're bored, here's what you do.
Yeah. I'm going to use that one because my sister is terrified of clowns. And oddly, Oompa Loompas, which meant when my children were small, I made them dress up as Oompa Loompas and go to her house and sing the song.
That's funny. Oh, here's another one. Unfortunately, I'm getting this age, and this happened to me. When you get out of the shower, you stare yourself in the mirror where it all went wrong.
You know, that's the moment when I look in the mirror and go, "Shit, gravity works."
Yeah. Say, there is such thing as gravity.
I think,
Crap.
especially for men, I know women talk about gravity, but men notice it too because before I was 50, I never sat on my nuts on the toilet.
I'm gonna tell you something. Once I got past 50, I had to go buy a jock strap to ride my 4-wheeler.
Yeah.
Okay? And I got a whole bit that I wrote, brand new joke I wrote about that. I'll be debuting on the 17th. But
Oh,
riding
good.
a 4-wheeler. So
Okay.
yeah. Here's another for you. She's into fitness. This lady loves fitness. She can't get enough fitness.
putting this whole burger in my mouth.
She'd have to be a rattlesnake to unhinge her jaw to get that far.
Yeah,
My
yeah.
Lord.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, this is about rabbit jumps and lives eight years. A dog runs and lives 15 years. A turtle does nothing and they live 150 years. Lesson learned.
I got to remember that for my wife when she wants me to mow the lawn next time. It's like, no.
Raise your hand if this has never happened to you. Just spent 15 minutes searching for my phone in my car while using my phone on my life.
I cannot raise my hand.
My wife had her phone in her hand. She's like, I can't find my phone. Will you call me?
Or glasses.
Yeah, hang on a bit, baby. Let me call you.
I literally have walked around the house like this going, where are my glasses? Where are my glasses?
Guilty.
Guilty. All right, now we're going to get into some videos. And if you ever watch my show, you're on your own. I'm not responsible for you falling out of your chair, okay, for some of this crap. Okay. Now, we were doing all that lineage we were doing about the women, right, and the men. I found another brother. No, I already covered him last week. Did I do him last week? Maybe I did. I'll do him again anyway.
I was born at a very young age.
I mean, oh, stop this planet. I want to get off.
You've heard rednecks come up with a cornhole, right? I got a better game than cornhole.
Oh God.
Hold on, man. I got to do this right. Great Spirit, I apologize.
Eat a 2-week-old unrefrigerated pie. Dumb ways to die.
Hold on. I got one more.
Dumb ways to die. So many dumb ways to die.
Throw that off a trampoline.
You know what? The sad thing is, I'd be the guy in the back putting a 20 on it.
It's going to hit her head.
I'm trying to stay research-based and factual on this show, so I want to go back to what I said about rewiring the brain. I'm now convinced that not all brains can be rewired.
Okay, I was trying to lead you down that area, buddy. I was trying to lead you down that path, and there are more and more, and they vote.
We have the ultimate yellow brick road right here.
Oh, I guarantee it. We could go for days.
Yeah.
Stop about and you can't make us run, 'cause when them old boys raised on shotguns.
That's where it all starts, right there.
That's right.
That's where it all starts, and it's just downhill from there. No therapy.
Reminds me of one I saw the other day with two little kids getting in a fist fight, and it said, "Do your best not to fight in life, but when you have to fight like the third monkey on Noah's Ark, and brother, it's starting to rain." You know.
On the W Radio Show, we take pride, in helping couples as well.
Yeah,
I have a couple therapy video for you.
Okay,
Doc, I don't suggest you and me this won't work for our wives, but anybody else, this might work on.
I like that.
When you're done cooking, we're gonna have a talk. You want to bet?
This might take a while then. Yeah.
Okay, let's see where we're at here. Oh, here we go.
This is the wrong question. The correct question is where.
Oh, that's the wrong one.
That's the wrong one. Okay.
We're in a comedy.
My question to you is that when my husband and kids go to a drive-thru, my husband gets very frustrated very fast. We all have different orders, and he just expects us to order everything exactly the way it is on the menu. Don't make any changes. That'll upset him. So I'm asking you to offer some suggestions to get us to not fight in the drive-thru when we're trying to place our orders. Are you on my side?
No, I'm not. No. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. I'm not on your side. I'm on your. I hate that. No, I'm sorry. Sure. I hate that. Just order what's on the board. listen, I tell my kids all the time, just if you want extra onions, get the onions off your sister hamburger. Stop all this. You don't like cheese? Scrape it off when you get it. But please don't throw this poor soul in that drive-through window into nothing.
You know, Steve, my orders aren't that complicated. Sometimes it's just the coffee line and it's extra foam, no sugar, skim milk, couple of sprinkles of cinnamon and nutmeg.
I'm telling you, there is no training for these people. Extra foam. Now you got some poor kid in the back with your coffee. I'm telling you.
Okay. Well, I'll look at it differently. Thank you.
Yeah, there you go. I mean, give your husband, he's absolutely right.
Okay. Well, I'll think about it.
I'm a champion. Look, I love women. I'm a champion. I will never tell you wrong. But sometimes, not often, but sometimes we right.
Yeah, all right.
Heard that a long time ago.
Yeah.
Tell them what you want.
And I have to say, I'm a special order person, but what annoyed me was we would pull up at McDonald's. McDonald's ain't changed their menu in 25 years.
Oh, no.
And my daughter would be like, well, I don't know what I want yet. I'm like, you should have known that when we pulled up. The menu hadn't changed.
You come here 3 years old, girl. You know, it's
Yeah.
They ain't changed their menu since 1956.
Oh, you got
You can even buy the sauce at Walmart now.
Yeah, I mean, you know.
If you don't want cheese, just order a damn hamburger.
That's right.
No, my daughter never ordered cheeseburgers. She wanted a hamburger with cheese. Made that very specific. And the wife would say, honey, you mean you want a cheeseburger? She says, no, I want a hamburger with cheese. I don't want a cheeseburger. Okay, give her what she wants then.
We got a lot of comments coming on here. We got to get to. Oh man, I told you when you come on, you're gonna have a good time during this section. People can't, they lose their damn mind. And we ain't done. I still got some more comedy for you. Julie said, "What the hell did I just watch?" I thought that same thing when I said, "Oh, this is going on the show." I guarantee you.
Yeah.
This is going on the show. You know, like my grandson one time, I got a grandson, love him to death. He's going to jail. We've already established we're trying to train him, but he's going to jail. And I'm gonna give up part of my joke. You're gonna hear the whole joke when you come. Okay. But part of this joke goes, you know, my daughter comes over to my house, right? She's got an IQ of 140. Her and I can't talk much because she don't understand me. I'm an idiot, and she's, you know, so her and the wife are talking. I was sitting there minding my own business, but I knew the grandson was going to give me something, right? Mm-hmm. So he comes in, he walks in the middle of the living room. He looks around. I'm thinking, here we go. Here we go. He goes in the bathroom. He grabs one white towel, wraps it around his head. He wraps another towel around his body. I mean, what is he doing? I'm getting over where I can see. He walks over next to the refrigerator, unscrews the broom handle, right? Starts walking in the kitchen. Behold. He walk over this side. Behold. I'm thinking, what's he doing? He goes, look, mommy, I'm a biblical sheep herder. Oh, well, he can't be too bad. He's getting his biblical on, right?
Yeah.
He walks to the center of this kitchen, looks right down the line of my daughter, and says, behold, bitch, make me a sandwich. I face planted onto the floor. Okay? I'm thinking the whole time, it wasn't me. Okay. I face planted. My wife's like, get up. I said, bullshit. This is funny. I'm on stage, right? I'm getting paid for this one. It's taking us to the rich house. We're going all the way. We're going to Hollywood. Right? I seen 2 puffs of smoke come out of my daughter's ears. Yeah. I thought she was going to jail. I thought she was going to beat his ass off his back. Okay. The whole time I'm thinking, wasn't me. It wasn't me. My other daughter come over. We have an autistic grandson. Mm-hmm. He's autistic, but man, is he strong. This kid's like 8. He's got the strength of an 18-year-old. He's just, man, right? Well, one thing he likes to do is wrestle. I said, okay. Hey, you want to wrestle, Papa? He said, yeah. I get down on the floor. He goes over in the corner room. He strips off buck neck. He's over helicoptering. I was like, whoa, what are you doing? That ain't how we wrestle. He said, that's what mom and dad do before they wrestle. Wasn't me.
Yeah.
Didn't really me. So families,
Yeah.
woo. And the sad thing is that shit's all true. So I'm at the house all the
That's
time.
the
Like,
funniest stuff in life is truth. One of the funniest things I ever saw was when I was back home and we were at the Methodist church and they were doing a Christmas pageant.
right.
And it was time for the little angels to come out. And you hear from the wings in the background backstage, this little 4-year-old yell, "I don't want to be no damn angel."
All right, now we're going to play some. Now we're going to play some comedy
right
bits.
there, you know.
Now we're going to do some comedy bits here. This one's about Father's Day. Okay, Father's Day is a good thing. It should be celebrated, right?
Yeah.
Don't you agree? Devil, don't you agree?
Yep.
Now, listen to this guy's input on it.
Father's Day is the worst holiday in the world. I've done the research. I already know. Let me tell you something. Mother's Day is the second most celebrated holiday in the world. Christmas is first. So that means it's Jesus, then your mama. You know what Father's Day fall at? Number 20. I can't think of 18 other holidays. Do you realize Halloween is number 6? That means ghosts and goblins go before fathers? Arbor Day is number 13. I don't even know what that is. I just know it come before me. That's crazy. Columbus Day is number 16. Celebrating Columbus Day is like celebrating somebody finding money in your house. Where you get that $50 from? I discovered it in your kitchen.
As someone with native background, I know you could appreciate that one. Yeah.
Yeah, that's funny. It's good. Yeah, I got quite a few native jokes, but all right, here's another piece of one.
Look, if you just don't feed your family for 2-3 weeks, you can afford a 75-inch TV.
Bud Light presents Real Men of Genius.
Real men of genius.
Today we salute you, Mr. Starve Your Family for a TV Man. You could buy a cheaper TV. You could put this one on credit. Or you could even save up for a few weeks and buy the TV then. But no, not you. You starve your family for 2 to 3 weeks and you get your TV now. Why? 'Cause that's why.
On TikTok, I'm gonna have to follow him. He's great. He's got that guy's voice down. The Bud Light.
He does good. He does good. But there's people out there like that.
Oh yeah.
You know?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
That's how people think, because people think they're entitled to every little thing. And we'll cover that here in just a second about people's entitlement.
I
that
deal
falls
with
out
their
of the brain.
children when they become adults all the time.
Yeah, that's exactly right. Okay. This one here, if you don't like adult language, come back. But this is pretty funny. This is Eddie Griffin, a comedian. He's from Kansas City, Missouri. Okay. And y'all know Eddie Griffin. You've seen him in Hollywood and stuff like that.
Eddie Griffin, the two most racist people on earth.
And a black woman. You understand me? Yeah, white man don't give a fuck. Sister don't give a fuck. The only cure for that kind of relationship is when they have a baby. Y'all had a baby yet? You got two? See, you're back in the family. Because only the babies can cure that racism. You bring that baby over to their sister's house. It's my grandbaby. Lord, he got that good hair. He got the skin to win, too. Sally, come on in here, girl. I was just bullshit. Yeah, I went on that Food Network. I learned how to make that quiche. Come on in here. You take him over that redneck house? Here's my goddamn grandson. Goddamn, look, that little fucker's got a permanent tan. I mean, look at the size of the balls on this fucker. Woo! Look how big his hands are. We're going to the
Okay. Okay. Woo.
The owner of the Washington Redskins. I thought you had some.
Let me prepare this for y'all. There is going to be some offensive things said in here, The Hodgson twins are a great bunch of people. I love them to death. And me being native, for those of you that care about me, I am not offended with what you hear, okay?
The owner of the Washington Redskins. I thought you had some balls, man. Yeah. How do you make all that money with no balls? Yeah. But anyway, he decided he's going to change the Washington Redskins name. Man. Yeah, the NFL team. They chose that name because they were seen as warriors. I mean, if you're on a football team, you will be seen as a warrior. That's why they came up with that name. It wasn't to mock or belittle any race. Y'all act like they was called the Washington niggas or something. Right? What's so disparaging about the Redskins? If that's disparaging, is the Dallas Cowboys America's team? Are they going to have to get rid of their name? Is Cowboys disparaging to Texans? I mean, if I was going into war, I think I would go with the Cowboys killed all the Indians. Huh? Do you know what it is? Why they changed the name? They're looking for equality. Equality? They're going to change the name to the Washington Transgenders. See? That's what's happening. You got to get equality in there.
The Commander. That to me is
That's a dumb name, Commanders. That's just stupid.
Yeah.
It is.
I'm like, that's the best you can. There weren't any other fierce animals out there that you had to use the Commanders after.
Or a military unit.
Yeah, military unit, something, the SEALs.
Or like the Washington Red Tails.
Yeah.
The
Pentagon's up there. How about the SEALs or the Washington Marines or something? Well, I don't think you really name them after a military because of copyright. And I don't know if that can work or not, but I'm sure they figure out something. Tanks, something fierce, All right, I don't know. I think I got one more left. Give me a second.
What the hell is a Black American?
That's for another show.
Two controversial bills are now.
So okay, all right, that's it. That's all the comedy I got there. And a lot of people who follow the show, we started our route search for all these people, brothers, sisters, everything like that. I don't know if you've ever heard this or not. It's kind of long, and I apologize to our fans, but this is funny, so I want Robert to hear this. I've got to play this for you.
Yeah, we've got to.
Please listen to this all the way to the end.
Oh, yes.
This will give you a new way of thinking about people's brains.
Yeah, okay? Try to get this lady's one rewired. Yeah.
Robert, brother, take a drink. Your two breaths.
Yeah.
And I apologize. Here we go.
Now, Donna, you got quite the vent today. It sounds like what's going on with you.
Well, I wanted to voice my opinion on something that's been bothering me for a really long time.
Okay.
I tried writing the newspaper and contacting TV stations, but nobody seems to want to stay with this. So that's why I'm calling you guys.
What's the issue?
Well, over the past few years, I've been involved in 3 separate car accidents involving deer.
Mm-hmm.
With the population and everything. Each of these incidents, they've occurred shortly after I saw a deer crossing sign on the highway. Well, my frustration is that Minnesota and North Dakota Departments of Transportation would allow these deer crossings to be in such high traffic areas. I mean, I've even seen them on the interstate. Why are we encouraging deer to cross at the interstate? I don't get it. That's such a high traffic area. I mean, I understand that deer are wild animals and they need to travel across the streets occasionally to survive and, of course, to find food, but it seems to me that so irresponsible of us to allow these deer crossings to be in areas where these deer are so likely to be struck by oncoming traffic. I mean, wouldn't you agree?
They're frozen.
They're frozen. I mean, you'd think they would put deer crossings maybe, in smaller towns, maybe during at a school crossing. It would be a safer place for them to cross.
Wait.
Put the deer crossing sign.
Deer crossings aren't telling deer that it's safe to cross there. It's just more of like an alert for drivers so they know it's like a high deer population.
The government put the deer crossings there. They can direct the deer population anywhere they want to by moving that deer crossing sign. I mean, why in the world would they place it on the highway or the interstate You know? I mean, God, there are so many other places I can think of than putting the deer crossing signs on busy highways and interstates.
You seem to be under the misunderstanding that the deer are somehow attracted to the deer crossing sign.
Well, yeah, the deer crossing sign is there to allow the deer to know that's where they need to cross.
Right. And all these car accidents you had involved a deer after you'd saw a deer crossing sign.
Exactly. I mean, I'm trying to watch out for the deer, but I mean, speed limit's 55, 65. How am I supposed to, you can't brake really quick if the deer just is crossing in that deer crossing area.
So you'd like to see these signs move somewhere safer?
Right. If we can move them, like, don't put deer crossing signs on the interstate or freeways. Put them in lower traffic areas. Somewhere where the speed limit's, a lot slower.
Uh-huh.
Maybe small towns. I don't know. I think school crossings is a good idea.
Well, listen, we will. You say you've tried to contact quite a few people about this.
Right. Yeah. I wrote like at least 3 or 4 letters, and
we will spread the word. Okay. We will try to kind of help you raise some awareness for this issue. Okay.
Oh, thank you. We need to move those deer crossing signs.
We appreciate your comment this morning.
All right. Thanks.
Bye.
I've actually seen that one, and every time I hear it, I've heard it about 3 times. I think of Bill Engvall. Here's your sign.
Right. See, at some point, and I know what you do is great, and we love what you do, appreciate what you do, but sometimes you just got to call a spade a spade.
Yeah,
sir, you're an idiot.
You're an idiot.
I
exactly.
I think a lot of times, I hear this same kind of crazy logic out of people who are addicts and, finding all the reasons they can to stay that way. And I'm just like, how's that working for you so far? Right.
Yeah. The whole definition of insanity thing, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Fortunately, a lot of us have been that way too. Why won't anyone take this woman seriously? It's a mystery. No kidding. And by the way, I see a lot of new people on here. Thank you all for joining.
Yes.
Julie Kelly's on here. Small Block, Fuley. Brother, I don't know if that's a female or male. Just thank you for joining, Brother Dean. Certainly, you're always, you're welcome, Dean. Dean's always welcome.
Yeah, Dean.
Chance Wagonfield, thank you, brother, for coming on there. I'll look at the Historical Preservation Society decided to grace us with her presence. The curator of the building we're in, which I can't say anything bad because I'll be evicted. So one of this building is her office upstairs. Of course, this guy here is the president of the place too. So
I'll keep you on board.
Yeah, keep me on board. Yeah,
I'll keep you on board. I got your 6.
I got there. You go. So thank you guys for joining. We're here with Robert Cox. We're going to get back into some other discussions here in just a second. I got another topic I want to hit on while you're here, because you seem like a pretty intelligent guy so far. I mean, now if I hear you on the radio asking about deer crossing signs,
well,
I'm just full of shit enough to pull it off most of the time.
Yeah. Well, see, me, I would do this because it amuses me. I'd call them up with some voice. Excuse me. It's 80 degrees outside. I'm cold. I need a winter coat.
Women in this country still make 77 cents on the dollar for what men make. So if women don't make less than men?
Actually, if you start looking at the numbers, Rachel, there are lots of reasons for that.
Wait. No, wait.
Well,
don't tell
first
me
of
the
all,
reasons are. Do women make less than men for doing the same work?
No, because...
Wow.
Well,
okay.
Well, for example, men work an average of 44 hours a week. Women work 41 hours a week. Men go into professions like engineering, science, and math that earn more. Women want more flexible
professions. Listen, this is not a math is hard
No. Yes, it is, actually.
No, it isn't.
Well, you have to
listen.
Look.
All right, let Rachel frame it, though, the way Rachel
right now,
laid it up.
women are making 77 cents on the dollar for what men are making.
But that's not true. If so,
let Rachel make her point.
Every greedy businessman in America would hire only women, save 25%, and be hugely profitable. And I love how passionate you are. I wish you were as right about what you're saying as you are passionate about it. I really do.
See, right there, he politely told her to F off without telling her to F off. See, this thing right there. I brought that up for you because people blame a lot of things and there is mental issues. I wholeheartedly agree 100%. A lot of us three here are gone. But some people don't want to debate and give up their position when they're wrong. Okay. Then they start saying, well, you're racist or you don't know the facts. Those things are dead wrong. There's not enough medicine. The only thing cure that would be an ass whipping.
On both sides of the political spectrum, that happens.
That's why I didn't say Republican or Democrat. I said
we have grown intolerant of conversation, and we take differing views as personal assaults instead of understanding that this person, right or wrong, they have a different background experience, right? And so, look, I was on one of my specializations is autism. I've written a book about it.
Okay.
And it's fairly popular, and it gets me asked to do lectures and trainings literally all over the world at times. Mm-hmm. And so I was selling like my method of treating autism and put that out there on Facebook, and someone immediately said, autistic people aren't broken. They don't need to be healed. Well, first of all, I never said they were, but they do come to me when their life is messed up. And I am able to help them by adjusting to some of the issues that autism brings into their brain. Right. But my bottom line for this person was, you're not even neurodivergent. You're using all the wrong words. And I'm like, if this is just about words, you win. If this is just about a competition to see who can be the most butthurt, you win. I'm not here to argue those points. I'm here to offer this help. And if you want it, great. And if you don't, blow me off. You're welcome to.
Right. I've had a lot of conversation with guys and they pull that crap. Are you a biologist? I say, are you? I know I've read history books. I've read science books. Does that make me a history major?
Well, by immediately
it makes me not stupid either.
I can assume. So when I say, what are you, some kind of viral expert? What I've done is discounted your experiences in life. Mm-hmm. And minimized your own feelings and emotions in that place.
Right.
That's not someone who wants to have an actual conversation.
No, that's someone who wants
to shut you down.
Right.
You and I are going to disagree on the vaccine. We already talked about that.
Right.
But I also acknowledge your right to make your own decision in that space. Right. I don't have to be offended by the fact that you made a different decision than me. My decision was right for me. It almost killed me the first time.
See, me not getting vaccinated, I lived.
Yeah.
Technically, I made the right decision for me. But people don't want to give that up. So I go back to what this woman was saying. She's right and she's wrong. Okay. She didn't want to give no ground here. Actually, the law says it, and Doc, you can tell me what the law was. I forgot what it was already because brain damage, but there was a law already on the books back in 1975.
Yeah, it was the Fair
Wage Act.
Yeah, the Fair Wage Act of 1971.
1971. Okay,
and that has gone a long ways in improving the wage gap. Yeah, but it's not there because men understand science better.
No. What I'm saying is, that law was already there. Women act like they want that law. It's already a law. You're supposed to get paid fairly. If you're not, tell me where you work.
It is. I would say this though: it's also a law that you cannot murder people. It still happens.
Right, it does.
Right? So the problem is maybe with enforcement in situations.
In different laws, see, there's things that should be laws. Like, for example, you're a married man, you're cheating on your wife. There's no law says you can't do that.
That's the difference between legality and morality, isn't it?
There you go. See, it's against the law to murder somebody. However, now if somebody attacks me and I murder his ass.
We do that. I went through that with somebody that I ended up having to fire, and I will not mention names. But they were doing things that I felt were incredibly unethical as a therapist.
Mm-hmm.
And they were like, well, it's not against any of the rules for the ACA Code of Ethics. And I said, legal and ethical are two very different things.
They are.
And I'm going to have to let you go because you don't seem to understand the difference.
Mm-hmm. I had one of my psychiatrists was Dr. Pushkariu. Hey, man, I nailed that. All right. She's Romanian. Great woman. She figured out a lot of things without me even saying a word. She just took a look at my demeanor, slumped shoulder. She knew some things. I mean, it was freaky what she knew. But she was unethical on her own time. She was sleeping with a married man. Okay. They were straight. They were still legally married. Okay. Let's put that. But they were living apart. Okay.
Yeah.
The estranged wife goes to her house in Overland Park, Kansas, knocks on the door, shoots her 3 times in the face, and kills her.
Oh my God.
Then goes back down to Texas where she lived. So that interstate, all that federal, all that law, right? Okay. I'm out of therapist now. because my therapist was morally not right. Okay.
He was
Does
not.
that make
mentally right either if that happened? So
does that make what she says, all her diagnosis of me, not right either? No.
That's a good point. Yeah.
No. You see what I'm saying? But now people, and I've already heard it. Well, hell, that means she don't know what she's talking about. No, that's not what she's talking about. Human beings make mistakes. None of us are gods. As much as I like to believe I'm a god, I'm not. Okay. No one's God. There's only one creator. Okay. You're not him. But we make mistakes. But tell me, throw a first stone if you have never made a mistake in your life. Okay.
Right.
So when people start arguing with you, they need to remember their position is this. Dude, you're no better than I am. Okay. And a lot of these people are also cowards. Okay. They talk a lot of crap online. If they're standing next to you, they'd be the same person who's standing next to you and not say nothing. Not say nothing. I had a guy do that to me one time. He come to whip my ass. He looked at me and said, "Oh, you're 6 foot, bench press 300 pounds. You have a good day."
Yeah.
Tough as hell on that computer. Right? See me in person. He's like, he lacked the courage of his convictions. Okay. That's what's going on. And you see that more and more and more. Now, a guy in your position, what do you do on that spin? Let's say a guy comes to you. Let's say I decided I was going to come to you for some help because of that situation. People keep doing this. They get offended by my comedy, which is no law, and we'll cover that in just a second. They get offended by that. What do you do on the other avenue of that? Well, how would you treat a guy like me, for example, who's tired of that crap?
A guy like you, run that by me one more time. I don't think I followed that last part.
Well, it's hard to do sometimes.
That's all right.
Let's say I'm tired of these guys being crybabies. I'm going to use some terms that I'm familiar with. Okay.
Okay.
Crybabies and punks and stuff and sissies and stuff like that. Because that's what I know. That's communication. Let's say I get tired of all these keyboard warriors on there doing everything like that, wearing me down a little bit. I come to you for treatment. Now, you know my background: MMA fighter, Marine, comedian for over 30 some years. A contractor, built things with my hands. Okay, bench press over 350 pounds. Man, get things done. I'm sitting in this chair now. Okay, how would you help me deal with these punks and sissies and wusses? I'm just using those terms because that's how I talk.
Well, one question I frequently ask is, how long do you want these people to live in your head rent free?
And that's very good. That's a very good question. That's a very good question.
Is it really worth giving up your own internal peace over somebody else's opinion, their idiocy? And then we move from there, though, into like, yeah, this person's behaving like an idiot, but they're doing that out of their own lack of resources.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Mm-hmm. And then I would come back. I would come back with you with this. The way I was taught, I had an uncle who always told me, "Nip that shit in the bud."
Well, that's where boundaries come in, right?
Okay, go ahead.
That's where I would say to someone, well, we're going to have to agree to disagree on that, and that's my signal to them that it's time to shut it down.
Right.
And there's a really good book out there. Luis Ruiz, maybe is his name. I can't remember, but it's called The 4 Agreements. And he is also a native, but he's a native of South America.
Yeah.
And he talks about like these 4 agreements from his own spiritual kind of upbringing and perspective. Mm-hmm. And the thing I find most fascinating about it is he says, and this comes back to something you were talking earlier about, and I'm taking a note so I don't forget it. Don't take anything personally. That's his number 2 agreement. Don't take anything personally.
Yeah.
Because it's like I literally told a gal in Walmart one time who was obviously having a bad day and totally went off on me for not getting my debit card out of my wallet fast enough. I just real bitchy. And I was like, if you got to know me better, you'd have a lot of reasons to hate me, but you don't have any reasons to be mad at me right now. So I'm going to assume you had a bad day. Right. And so instead of coming back and yelling at her in that space, which would only escalate her more and put her more into fight or flight mode, I just kind of call out her behavior in using humor, which always breaks things down. You know, I call out her behavior and show her what it's about. And if she meets me with more resistance, that's okay. I can shut that down, but I don't ever have to take it personally because truly she does not know me well enough to not like me. You know, talk to my wife. You'll have a whole list of reasons, right? But right now you don't have those reasons. You don't know me that well. And so this is what happens when people get in these drive-bys or they get angry and they get out in road rage and they've just taken that shit personally when it wasn't personal because they don't have the ability to emotionally regulate and something scared them. And again, we go back to this, I don't like being scared, so I'm going to be angry.
Right. And it's a legit thing. There's a thing called anger addicts.
Especially with men though, because we're told we shouldn't be scared. We're babies if we're scared. Well, let me tell you something I tell my clients right up front. And there's a couple things I want to mention here, but one of them is there are only two types of people in the world that don't feel fear. Can you tell me who they are?
Dead people and babies. No, well, dead people.
No. Sociopaths who don't have emotion like most people, so they're not going to register fear in the same way.
Okay.
And people who are just too stupid to understand there's something to be afraid of.
I might fall in that category.
And I don't want to be either one of those categories, so I'm going to feel my fear. Courage, you guys know this. Courage isn't about the lack of fear. It's about feeling it and putting it in your backpack and doing it anyway. Right?
Yeah, we have a saying in the military, and it's a good saying, and these two are separate. There's a difference to being scared and fear. Fear will keep you alive. Scared to get you killed. Okay?
Yeah.
And that's a good thing we live by. Everything. Robert, brother, man, hey, it was good to have you here.
There's one more thing, if I can interject, that I want to say about this idea of everyone being broken. And I want everyone to look at everyone else, whether we're on opposite sides of the religious fence or the political fence or whatever. Understand that all of us are broken, and that's okay because that's where our beautiful spaces come from.
Right.
Right. You guys ever heard of kintsugi pottery?
Is that like origami?
No, it's from Japan. It's a Japanese pot.
It's a Japanese pot that they make perfectly, and then they break it apart with a hammer.
Oh, nice.
So that they can seam it back up with gold, because they understand it's the healing of those broken spaces that's going to make this pot exceptional and beautiful. Human beings are that. Right. And as long as we can understand this person's not coming at me rude because they're necessarily an a-hole. They're just a broken human being. Now, that does not mean that I have to see them as beautiful because they ain't got there yet. You ain't got your gold seams yet, so you need to back off a little bit.
Right. Also, to add what Robert Cox is saying, by the way, thank you all for coming. Thank you for coming on here.
Yeah,
man,
thanks a lot.
Giving up other side of things. Hang around. Don't go nowhere yet, though. But one thing I want to add, do your research. I mean, you're going up in somebody's face yelling, like the lady who's yelling about women get paid less. They don't. There's many factors to a situation. Okay. A lot of men work more overtime. A lot of men have different types of jobs. Well, of course they're going to make more. But if she would have come out and said percentage, she'd have carried a little more weight then, because that's how you figure the discrepancy would be percentage. Or like someone saying, my dog can kick your dog's ass. First of all, who cares? Second of all, I don't want my dog to bite your dog. I want my dog to bite you. Okay, I want my dog to bite your ass.
I don't want my dog to get bit by your dog.
Yeah. So that ends that debate. And by the way, if somebody ever asks you if your dog bite, just tell them this: he's got teeth.
Yeah,
he's got the capability.
All right, guys, we're gonna go on up. Let's do this day in history.
In history, here we go.
All right, this day in history, February 21st, 1965, in New York City, Malcolm X, an African-American leader, is assassinated. Or I guess you put was assassinated now. While addressing the organization of Afro-American Unity in Audubon Ballroom in Washington Heights, He was 39 years old. I didn't know he was 39 years old.
Yep.
That was
He was a young guy.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
I didn't know that at all. Huh.
Young man.
He was born in Little Omaha, Nebraska in 1925. He was the son of James Earl Little, a Baptist preacher who advocated the black nationalist ideas of Marcus Garvey. Threats to the Ku Klux Klan forced the family to move to Lansing, Michigan, where his father continued to preach his controversial sermons despite continuing threats. In 1931, Malcolm's father was murdered by a white supremacist Black Legion, and the Michigan authorities refused to prosecute those responsible. Like father, like son. He got killed doing what he thought he was right. His dad got killed. That's this day in history.
Shortly after he met with Martin Luther King, too.
Yes.
Yes. I get all those. If anybody wants to know where I get those from, I get those off of the History Channel. You go on there and it says on this day. So
which
you
is
get some of the list.
Back to your resource comment, like do your research. That's a good resource, the History Channel. Wikipedia is not a good resource.
Well, Wikipedia is real good for Pimp's Pet, which is a good segue into what I'm doing now. This is excellent. Yeah. Today's Pimp's Pet, and if all you watch the show know that what I'm about to show you is the nastiest bird on the freaking planet.
Oh, Lord.
Okay. The turkey vulture.
Oh,
God.
And they're the most hated bird, but they're actually a very thorough bird.
Yeah.
They take care of problems. Okay. They're like the mafia of birds. Right? They're Teflon. You can't hardly stop these things. I mean, I'm gonna give you a couple paragraphs here, a couple sentences. Vultures are scavenger birds. Really, I wouldn't have thought that.
Yeah,
I wouldn't have thought that. Meaning they eat dead animals. Outside of the oceans, vultures are the only known obligated scavenger. That means that's them.
They're it.
They're it.
Yeah.
Okay. And they rarely attack healthy animals. That's because they don't have a taste for nice, clean stuff. They want funky.
No,
they want maggots.
They want that nasty stuff.
They want that dead meat, roadkill chili.
Nasty stuff.
But may kill a wounded or sick animal. They must have smell of death on them. They're going honing in.
That's okay. Hurry it up.
That's right. When a carcass is too thick a hide for the beaks to open, it waits for a larger scavenger to eat first. Wolf.
Okay.
Mountain lion.
Bear. Yeah.
Claws. Okay. They're disgusting. And I can't believe I got this. But Native American, I love all creatures. Okay. But damn, these are disgusting. Yeah. Okay. This is the only, if I go around something dead and stinky, I got to put Vicks in my nose. That's how much, of a girl I am. Whoa, I learned that off of a guy of a mortuary.
We carried Dad in the glove box or patrol car.
You got that off of Quincy, right?
No, I got that out of a mortuary. I kid you not. I was sitting in the town of Gallatin, Missouri. Okay. And I was a little boy. And this guy, he rolled the dead people out there on the bed or on the coffin thing, and he'd just be working on them. And I'm like, what are you doing? So me being curious, I go up there. And he had a big old bunch of, it looked like boogers, but it wasn't. It was just Vicks that was drying all over him, just caked on. I'm like, what are you doing? He goes, little man, stop right there. I'm like, what? Am I going to wake him up or something? As a height of my comedy, right? He goes, no, it stinks so bad in there. I said, it can't be that bad. My stepdad farts. I said, no. He said, when we turn these dead carcasses upside down, right, and we squeeze them at them, he said, the smell that comes out, clear a mortuary out, make dead people sit up and say, damn. Okay. So I, being curious and a dumb little shit, stuck my head inside the door.
Uh-huh.
I understood real quick what the Vicks was for. I got 8 years old, understood the full meaning of Vicks underneath your nose. Yep. Not a problem. Never had a problem again. It was nasty.
Not as bad as a floater. Floaters are bad.
Ooh, I don't know. What do you call a floater?
Dead body been floating in the
water
about 3 or 4 weeks.
Yeah. No, woo. What? I don't know what he had in there.
I had to help recover a floater one time.
Did you? You're a hell of a man. Oh, that's right. You were a cop, though.
Oh, yeah.
Go ahead, tell us. You already got us salivating. Go ahead, tell us.
Nothing. Had to. No ID or anything like that. So here's what they do.
Right.
Here's what they got. This little. The coroner comes out. And they got this little tool that puts over the puffy fingers, and it cuts the meat from the bone, and they slide it in an evidence bag, and then that is sent into the lab so that they can get fingerprints off of it to try and ID the body. And you got to hold the arm while they do that. I'm gonna tell you something. You ain't smelt nothing till you smelt the floater.
Vicks was great. Dean said
that makes Vicks run away.
Wow. Vicks. Dean Cerny says Vicks under the nose is an old EMT trick. Well, I learned when I was 8. I'm proud of it. I'm glad I learned it. All I know is if I work in a freaking mortuary, my wife, first time, this is my second wife. First time I did it, she said, "What are you doing?" Watch this. She's like, "You have to, because I am a certified pansy. I will puke, cuss. I will start cussing, ranting, and raving. I will. Don't tape it and send it to my mama, because she'll be calling me. We can't talk us out. You shut up, woman. Don't worry about it." I'm over here right now.
I thought I had a strong constitution from being overseas and other things, but there's just some things that.
No, sir. All right. Now we got another segment here that we always do. It's kind of somber, but before we get to that segment, it's time for trivia question.
Trivia question.
This is a sports question. Okay. So all you sports nuts, here we go. Name Super Bowl MVP his team did not win the Super Bowl. It has happened one time. The losing team had a Super Bowl MVP. 20 points, his name, another 20 entries. So it'll be 20 altogether for the year. So the name and the year. And while you're all doing that, I'll get this.
But that's going there.
Get this next.
Our missing person.
All right, guys, if you take a look at your screen here. Sierra Chapman, December 27th, 2022, Trotwood, Ohio. It's another one up Dean Cerny's way. I don't know what else to tell you about these young people. This just saddens me. Take a good look at her picture here. Young lady. Haven't even had a chance to experience a full life yet. Wow. Date of birth used November 12th, 1992. Hair black, eyes brown, height 5'5", weight 115 pounds, female, race black. The FBI is offering a reward up to $10,000 for information leading to the recovery of Sierra. See, I don't like when they put recovery. They're already assuming she's dead.
Yeah, already.
Yeah.
You can read between the lines.
Yeah, I don't like that. Anyway, leading to the recovery of Sierra Chapman and information that leads to the identification, the arrest, and conviction of the persons responsible for her disappearance. Details. The FBI's Cincinnati field office is assisting the Daytona Police Department in Ohio in their search for Sierra Chapman. Was last seen during the early morning hours of December 27th, 2002. A couple days after Christmas, man.
Yeah.
2022 at Autumn Woods Drive apartment in Trotwood, Ohio. And Dean, brother, hope I said all that correctly. Chapman was reported missing on December 29th, 2022, and on January 6th, 2023, police found her 2014 Cadillac SRVX SUV in Middletown, Ohio. Okay. That tells me a little further. Her purse and her other personal items were located inside the vehicle. However, Chapman was not in the vehicle. The Daytona Police Department believes there may be suspicious circumstances around her disappearance.
You think?
Come on. Anyone with information related to the disappearance of Sierra is asked to call the Daytona Police Department at 937-333-COPS or 937-333-2677. You may also contact your local FBI office, the nearest American embassy or consulate, or you can submit a tip online at tips.fbi.gov. Field office, Cincinnati. Of course, submit an anonymous tip. Guys, take one more look.
Yep.
If you can help this family, I guarantee this family would love some closure and love some help to find their loved ones.
Yep. Sounds like a little human trafficking thing going on.
Yeah, and that shit just sickens me. We argue about all this other shit going on, but not one damn time have I heard a Republican, a Democrat, a liberal, anybody come on and put some heart behind trafficking of children.
Trafficking.
Yeah.
I'm gonna tell you something. If I see it going on, I'm into it.
No,
I guarantee you.
Love it.
Yeah, I'm trained.
I will say this. There was a really powerful bipartisan effort by Claire McCaskill and a Republican that I can't remember his name from another state. And they got through a legislation that started holding some of these magazines and places like Craigslist accountable for advertising women who were being trafficked.
It was Florida.
Right, but see,
it was in Florida.
But that's just women. What about the little boys that are trafficked? All trafficking. There ought to be a big giant push.
Everybody though.
Right.
Yeah.
One big giant push.
But do you know that Kansas City is the number 2 hotspot in the United States for trafficking, sex trafficking?
I don't doubt it.
Doesn't surprise me.
I would not doubt it.
Think about all the interstates that run through the middle of the country here.
Truck stops.
Anytime you have drug trafficking, you're going to have sex trafficking, because I can only sell you cocaine one time. I can sell you a human being over and over again.
Just out of curiosity, who's the number one?
Montana.
Is it? I don't know that one.
Okay.
But I know Kansas City's definitely up there.
Ding, 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 ding. We have a winner, ladies and gentlemen.
Another big place.
Dean Cerny said Chuck Halley. That is correct, Dean. It happened in 1971 on the freaking Dallas Cowboys.
Yep, he was a linebacker.
Go figure. The team who would lose would have a freaking anyway. Cowboys. Anyway, I'm gonna be nice. It'll be nice. You find Dean. Dean, you earned it, brother. I'm giving you both of them. You get 20 total. Thank you for that, Dean. Appreciate it, brother.
Go.
Keep track of that.
He's on it.
I'm not going to say he might not have heard that on Sports Church. He may have, may not have. All I'm saying is
he was watching Sports Church this Sunday.
Yeah, but I don't know if he was in there when I said that or not. But he come in. But yeah, he's a pretty good guy. Love Dean Cerny. Julia Kelly said Montana is number one state, and then she said, "Well,
Minnesota's number 2."
Yeah, so it's, and I got a whole show planned for that crap because I'm a victim, not of the trafficking, but I was molested when I was a kid, and it took me forever to say that. And Dr. Piscario, she got that out of me, and I'll talk about it. I mean, it happened then. It ain't gonna happen to me now.
Yeah.
Okay? But I don't want that to happen. It's sick and disgusting. But it just saddens me. We get guys arguing over her park board money, or building a new highway here.
Yeah.
When not one person has been on any of these debate platforms. So I'm gonna lay out something, even if he's wrong, he or she's wrong. Lay out something.
Yeah.
Then we'll all get together and negotiate. I'm gonna put a stop to X by doing Y. Okay, well maybe it won't work.
At
least you put something out there.
We live in a society where there aren't any easy solutions, and everybody wants easy solutions.
Yeah, and things in the society are getting harder and harder and harder every day.
Good for you, Julia.
Me too. I want to talk. I can talk about that now. Well, first of all, Julia, sorry about that. Not every human being on the planet is like that. And I'm just telling you some of the things they told me. Not everybody's like that. I really wish the situation was different.
Yeah.
For you and for me.
Definitely.
One of the reasons why I'm a big guy, one, because I eat. But I got big because nobody can molest me when you're a big man. Big men, people are scared of a big man.
Interesting.
So I had to get through my head first about the losing weight part. I know how to lose weight. I'm a freaking Marine. I know how to lose the weight. Okay. I got a lot of elements that make it hard, but I can't. But it's a psychological thing. Okay. I lifted all the weights, got all of them strong, got so strong because nobody was going to do it to me again. Okay. I got PTSD from it. I start talking about it. I want some kid to come up and talk, and I'll share my experience. Also, guys, if you're out there, if a woman comes up to you and grabs a hold of you she's not flirting you wanting to date.
No, she's asking for help.
She's saying help.
Yeah.
That's right.
Good for you guys for pointing that out. Yeah.
Hey man, W Entertainment, we report out everything where people like to hear it or not sometimes.
Well, I think a lot of men in society, the ones that I treat who have been violent or who have been without intending to sometimes verbally abusive, don't understand that the experience of this planet is a lot different for women. They know that they live in a society who probably is not going to do anything about it if they are hurt or injured. And a
lot of men. See, a lot of men.
Here's a comment, BJ.
Street alone at night, ever.
Yeah. Here's the thing. A lot of people believe, I'm not of this ilk, although I do think there's some of this going on. A lot of guys blame people like you, Robert. And hear me out for a second. Because men today are getting what we call soft. Okay. And could it be to touchy witchy with their feelings? I don't know. All I know is our military now, okay, cannot train properly because they got stress cards, or they gotta fill out paperwork in order to learn martial arts, okay, so they can stay alive if they're good. If they run out of ammo or lose their weapon, they learn how to fight, do something like that. They're not getting those things now because this new way of thinking, okay, has changed people's thought process on how to defend themselves and be tough. They're trying to get rid of the tough guy. Now, tough guy is just a persona, first of all. There's nothing really to get rid of. If a man's tough and he takes care of his family, that's a bad man.
He's a bad man.
Yeah, he's a bad man. Go do what he does every day or shut up.
You know, I don't know how they do in the military now. I've been out for a really long time, but I can tell you back in the 70s, the early to mid 70s, early 70s, when we did bayonet training, we did it with the bayonet on the end of the rifle.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
I do know. Yeah.
You get cut one time, you're going to learn how to do it and not get cut no more.
You want to do it again?
You practice with the scabbard, and then they come by and take the scabbard off.
One of the things,
it's a different ball game now, buddy.
Yes, right. One of the things they did in the Marine Corps, you should study this stuff called line. It's a form of martial arts. It's the world's second deadliest most martial arts. They quit training. They quit teaching that in there because if you had to practice on somebody, when you're practicing, somebody got hurt.
Yeah.
But that was showing you, I've had them with all lumps in my freaking head from the sweep and stomp, hitting here, don't hit your nose, hit here, whatever. But because they were soft, they didn't want training no more. And now the military is going downhill. Yeah. And society. So my thing to you, brother, and like I said, I'm not necessarily a man who feels this way. We just think that a lot of this talk and okay with your feelings, which is good to a point, is making men soft. How would you respond to that, to everything you just heard us talk about? How would you respond to that?
I would say that the suffering you endure from holding back feelings is greater, even though sometimes it's unnoticed, than you realize, right? That real strength, the reason we don't feel our emotions is because we don't want to accept that hurt, right? Real strength comes with being able to sit with my emotions. Now, here's the thing. My son when he was alive, was built like a brick shit house. He was 6'2", and just nobody would mess with him. He had beaten all of he's my stepson. His first 5 years, he was brutalized, and so he did the same thing. He got buff. But we had a rule, right? When he got into junior high, I said, here's the rule, dude. If someone comes at you, even if they hit you, if you know it's over at that point and they're just dysregulated or they have some problem, walk away. If they hit you and they're coming back at you, put them down and then walk away.
Yeah, you have a right to finish.
Right?
Yeah.
So I don't say we shouldn't be able to defend ourselves, but I'm saying don't let your first response, that first emotion, be the thing that determines your decisions.
Right.
My old man used to tell me, "Don't you ever start a fight, but you better be the one to finish it."
Right.
Yeah.
See that? What you said there, Robert.
Defend ourselves. But when I hear people say emotions make me weak, no, they don't. Emotions hurt you, and that makes you feel weak.
Right. And I agree exactly what you said there a while ago. Thing is, a lot of men believe. Well, actually, they don't believe this is true. What happens? You let somebody continue doing something, and they get more brazen at it. They continue doing it, continue doing it.
Sure.
Okay. If you don't nip that shit in the ass right then, they're going to keep doing it. They're going to go on to somebody else who they get away with doing it. You know?
That's where healthy boundaries come in, right? And the problem is, I don't necessarily have to punch your lights out right here and now in order to set a boundary.
That's right.
Right.
That's right. I'm glad he said that.
My son, when he was in high school, I got a call when he was 16 years old from the principal, and he said, "Mr. Cox, I need to tell you something." I'm like, "Oh shit." He said, "Tristan was at lunch and he got hit in the face by another kid." And I said, "Oh my God, is he okay?" And he said, "Tristan's fine." I said, "I wasn't talking about Tristan. I'm talking about the other kid." And he said, "Well, that's the weird thing is Tristan just walked away and said, 'Not today,' and told me that kid had autism and he knew it and he wasn't going to beat him up for that. And he was just going to walk away." So my son got to choose where he wanted to go for dinner that night.
Absolutely. Absolutely. All right, guys, we're down to the last 9 minutes of the program.
I have one thing I want to say to suicidal vets right now.
Go ahead, sir. Go ahead.
I have met dozens, if not hundreds of people who are suicidal. I've never met anyone who really wanted to die. They just wanted to stop hurting.
They just want relief. Yeah.
Call somebody and give us a chance to help you stop hurting before you take that final act.
Absolutely. Yep. Absolutely. Guys, we want to thank Robert Cox for coming on here, man. Sir. Appreciate it so much. A lot of things we disagree on, but a lot of things we agreed on. And thank you for coming and shedding a light. I guarantee you somebody out here, and I've been watching the numbers. We've had some people on here on all different platforms we're on watching 10, 15 minutes. So everybody got to see you, got to see who you were. Appreciate you coming on. Now, what we do, you've watched our show before. You know what we do here. We have a closing segment, okay? Give a minute, 30 seconds to a minute to close out. You're the guest. You're our guest. You're our honored guest. Would you give us 30 seconds of closure, please? And you can add wherever to find you, phone numbers, whatever you want to. 30 seconds is yours. Close us out.
All right. 50% off for all vets, period, or first responders. But our normal rate is 120 hours. We work on a sliding scale, but we provide first responders with a 50% discount regardless of what their income is. Okay. Nice. Don't give in to the darkness, no matter how bad it seems. Call someone, get help, because you don't know what your life could be like a year from now. And I'm talking as someone who is maybe one of the only people on the planet who had a shotgun misfire when it was in his mouth. Okay.
There's a reason for that. All right. I just got word. We skipped a segment, so we're going to go past 8 o'clock. And I guess since I own the show, I guess nobody can tell me. Right? So we forgot this, and normally we have our shit together, but with such an interesting conversation with you, sir, I apologize, but we got to do our segment, one of the most popular segments on here. We got to do our dummy of the week. Okay?
Yes.
It's like, hang on a second. You big dummy.
Oh, I love that. Yeah.
All right. So now, if you all want to direct your attention, and we apologize ahead of time, okay, for the information that's about to spew out of Kyle's mouth. Okay, but I got to tell you, this right here is just a little synopsis of what's about to go down. Kyle?
This is in Chicago.
If you dare, sir.
Cook County Sheriff's Office. That's Chicago.
Yep.
For sure. Go ahead, Kyle.
Okay. An armed robber stays at the scene of the crime because he's eating his victim's fried chicken. A Chicago man, no pun intended.
He couldn't get it to go.
Oh, it gets better. You ready?
Yeah, go ahead.
A Chicago man, no pun intended, is facing a bucket of felony crimes after allegedly robbing a man at gunpoint and then just deciding for shits and giggles to stay at the scene of the crime and eat the victim's takeout fried chicken. The cops arrived at the robbery scene within minutes, and the alleged victim found the nice man in dreadlocks, James Taylor, 20, still there, chowing down on the victim's delicious fried chicken. Officers said the victim, 35, parked in front of his home at the 4500 block of South Calumet Avenue at 1:30 on Saturday morning. started to head towards his residence with the piping hot yard bird. Taylor interrupted the man and asked him if he had a light for a smoke. The victim turned around and said, "No, I don't smoke," and he kept going about his way. Well, then Taylor, the nice man in the dreads, tapped him on the shoulder, and at this point was flashing a pistol in his face. Well, he ended up getting the man's keys, $2 in cash, and a debit card, and a bucket of fried chicken. Okay, well, then the idiot decided to climb into the victim's car, went to work on the fried chicken. The victim dialed 911. This idiot is facing armed robbery with a firearm.
A bone to pick with it.
Yes.
I'm sorry, brother. Dean's trying to kill me.
I know.
The judge
He's got
a bone to pick.
bone to pick with him. Yep. Armed robbery with a firearm, aggravated unlawful use of a weapon, aggravated possession of a stolen vehicle, and illegal possession of a debit card. He had to pay $15,000 bail, then was sent home with a fantastic electronic monitoring device.
And a bucket of chicken.
The judge also said that he's facing a minimum when he has to come back of 21 years in jail. But oddly enough, there is no penalty for stealing the man's delicious piping hot chicken. What says you all?
Hold on a second.
I'm telling you, I'm not of a criminal element, but if that was churches, I can't blame him for hanging around. That's pretty good.
Well, it happened in Chicago on February 15th, 2023. Yeah. And he's at the Cook County Jail where they give you cold Big Macs.
Listen, yes, you can't make this shit up. Hollywood couldn't write a script
for this
because they're too busy laughing, falling on their face. I'm sitting in there, I'm a judge. I got a gavel. And this guy comes in there, and I'm reading the paper like, I'm messing with him. Hey, what kind of chicken do you have? You was eating breast? Oh, you don't like breast? What's wrong with breast? Oh, you're a wing man, ain't you? Leg?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, thighs are good. How about leg? How about 15 years, moron?
Regular or extra crispy?
The commander's wife just said he was charged with aggravated consumption of stolen poultry.
Shit. Hang on, let me find that. Wow.
Oh, wait till next week. I got a good one with the Wiener Schnitzel Mobile and stolen catalytic converters. And Aaron Rodgers is not involved.
Yeah.
That being said, we want to go ahead and close. Doc,
the Wiener Mobile.
Doc, go ahead and close. Give us your closing thoughts, sir.
Well, like I always say, if anybody ever reaches out to you, take the time to listen. Don't offer a solution. You can't fix it. They picked you. They chose you because they trust you. Just listen. Then when they're finally done or they have a pause, ask them if they'd like to go outside or possibly go and get a cup of coffee. That's it. Other than that, enjoy the rest of the week. It's Taco Tuesday. You can see me Saturday night at the bar and Sunday with Pimp for Sports Church. And sometimes, don't know when, but sometimes Pimp shows up on Saturday nights. And this Saturday night, we have G.I. Lowe coming on the bar.
Aha.
Commander, sir.
You are valuable. Your life is worth something. It's precious. It means a lot. Don't throw it away. Like everyone has said here time and time again, reach out to someone when you think you're getting to that low point and just talk. Somebody will listen. Nobody's going to try and fix anything for you. Nobody's going to try and cure nothing, but we're going to listen. We will listen. Then we'll have us a drink. Or like Double Doc says, a cup of coffee, piece of pie somewhere. But you are valuable and your life is worth something. Don't throw it away.
Absolutely. All right, guys, you know what we say it every week. We mean what we say here at W Entertainment Radio Show and W Entertainment Network.
Yeah.
We've got a network of shows on here. You guys can watch it. You have value. As my brother said, you have value. You are not worthless. Unless you're a child molester, then you're worthless and nobody cares. But you have value. You are not worthless. We love you guys. I know men don't, they're about their feelings. I want to say love. I love every damn one of y'all. Love you as a brother.
Yeah.
Veterans, we refer to each other as brothers. We're all brothers. We chewed some of that same damn dirt. Okay. A lot of us in limp. A lot of us got mental issues. A lot of us can't hold on to anything because of neuropathy. The list goes on. The things that we put up with. We did it for you guys. For other veterans, for civilians, all you people. We love you guys. Okay. We don't want to see the stat 22 a day. It's freaking rising because now they're categorizing it.
Yeah, they're getting it into different health issues that we've got now that they weren't paying attention to before.
My
and
God.
now that's pushed it up to over 40 days.
45. So
45.
Technically, the veteran part's still 22,
Yeah.
but it's 45 a day, guys.
Yeah, that's
So,
wow.
We love y'all. Take care of yourselves right here. This is a start. Come laugh your ass off. It's an adult show, so don't come. I want to hear family friendly because you're going to be embarrassed after the first comedian. Okay, but come here. We got some outstanding comedians. Roy Anthony, he's our MC. He's going to be controlling the mic.
Oh, he's a great guy.
Great guy, absolutely. He's one of our hosts on here every Tuesday and Thursday at noon. Okay, we got Richard Montano. Okay, outstanding, great guy. Typhoon Panda, my buddy. He performed. Him and I performed at my 20th wedding anniversary party. Okay, lit it up. My grandkids are sitting on his lap and he's performing. And of course, myself on there. I can tell you some of my stories, and you will laugh. It's $10 get in. We got a 50-50 raffle, food and drinks available. They probably have green beer. Come on, laugh, have a good time. I can't guarantee you tomorrow. I can't guarantee you next week, but I can guarantee you for that hour and a half to 2 hours, you're safe, and you're not going to want to commit suicide. That being said, as I say in my native culture, Dona Dagahoy, Osta Usvi. I'm Richie King, bad man of comedy, redneck pimp, on behalf of Devil Doc, my brother here, Commander, and our guest tonight, Mr. Cox. We say thank you, love you. We'll see you next Tuesday.